Hello and welcome to the Restricted Area Podcast, where we break down the week in NBA and WNBA action. I am your host, Alex Perez, joined by the long-awaited return of Colton Smith, our producer. How we doing?
Shoo, it has been a minute since I've been on here talking hoops with y'all. It was a crazy May, but maybe even crazier June. I had a wedding I was a part of, bachelor trip, all this different stuff, and now we're in July and it's swamp ass alert here in most of the country, but especially our area of the country for sure. So yeah, I've just been it's been busy. Glad to be finally back on the pod, though. Got a lot I want to talk about, especially about this free agency. So pumped to get started.
Yeah, it has been very uncomfortable. It's the type of heat you go outside and instantly get mad, so not a big fan of it. Also, having two off days since June 8th, not really enjoying this weather even more with that. So the grind never stops. And also,
Yeah.
the grind never stops of watching this NBA action, which has been fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's been standing out to you, Colton?
I like to sometimes just like build up to something. I'm getting straight to the Celtics. What are we doing with
Yeah,
that trade? Jalen Brown for Paul George and two first round picks. One of them probably a pick swap in the favor of the Celtics in 2028. And then 2031 is unprotected Sixers pick. You better get the next Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown with those two picks because
hmm
this is honestly, I think, almost on the level of the trade, the stipend rule, like the trade that the Celtics got Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum from.
true.
Um, like I feel like you are literally trading. Not that they're one-to-one comparisons, but you're trading prime Paul George for podcast P Paul George. Like Paul George is still a solid vet. He is nowhere near uh he's nowhere near what you need him to be, and it should be a piece, the main piece in a Jalen Brown trade. And again, I'm not saying they're one to one when I say that. I just feel like the impact Jalen Brown brings offensively and defensively is very similar to that of a prime Paul George. Look at his MVP season, you'll see. But additionally, you just lost to this team, blowing a 3-1 lead in the playoffs. And so you look
Yeah,
at that and you're like, hmm, hmm, maybe let's go ahead and give that team that beat us in the playoffs, again, blew a 3-1 lead to in the playoffs. Let's take a look at that team. Let's go ahead and take their like fourth best player and we'll give them our second best player. That's exactly what's happening here.
for
And
sure.
you wouldn't even have been in the playoffs as much. Maybe you would have made like a play-in spot, but you wouldn't even have made the second seed or whatever seed they ended up being if not for Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown held down the ship and elevated his game without Jason Tatum to make the playoffs. This reeks desperate. This reeks second tax apron, and just calling it, just saying we're closing our window because you're not winning a championship with Jason Tatum and Paul George. Is there a vision that I don't see? Maybe, but you were in talks for Giannis 2 weeks ago, and you ended up with Paul George at the age of 36. Like, I love the dog on Paul George as much as I can, but at this point, I feel bad for Paul George. He shouldn't have to be the butt of the joke on this one. Like, that's
Right.
just poor management, and that's exactly where it needs to be pointed towards. So, I'll talk about the Sixers later on in the show, but Celtics just absolutely blow my mind. And before I go to any other of my losers this week, I would like to hear your thoughts.
A truly baffling trade. One of the craziest trades I've heard in a long time, besides the Luca trade, and this is maybe the second worst that I've heard since then in quite some time. Because what are we doing? Paul George, if we're being honest, got outplayed by Kelly Oubre during his time there. So um,
That's
we
Indiana
ba-
Pacer Kelly Oubre.
that's right. So congratulations there. But you all basically traded Jalen Brown for Kelly Oubre at that point. Then not ideal. Those picks not going to get it done. I just don't understand what the Celtics thinking is. Instead of fixing the problems that they do have, which is obviously post play and questions about depth, you trade your second best player for nothing. For a player who's not going to produce that much, definitely will not make you a more of a championship contender. Um, have we seen a Well, I was going to say, have we seen a drastic move this close to being removed from a championship? But yes, the Lakers after the bubble. Anyways, I digress. Do you think they flip PG in the picks? Because that's got to be the only explanation I see for a trade this bad.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is the only way they get out of this trade on top because even if the Sixers don't win a championship, but I'm scared as a Pacers fan. I've been very confident. I'm scared of that team. So I think LeBron. We'll get to that. So I think the only way they end up winning this, regardless of whether, because I think this is a first round exit team as it stands,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if they're a top. I mean, in the East, anything's possible. So I won't say they're not a top team, but I think the only way they come out on top is if they do flip Paul George in those picks or somebody. But the reports coming out that we're expecting a Jalen Brunson type jump from Peyton Pritchard.
Come on,
that's
now.
Impossible.
Yeah.
That is physically impossible. Like, not even trying to dog on Peyton Pritchard. I'm sure he'll take a jump without Jaylen Brown. We have seen it in the past when Brown was injured, but he can't be because he's not the number one option. Jason Tatum's your number one option. You can't take a Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson needs the ball in his hands in order to be Jalen Brunson. So that kind of math just does not work. And I don't know. That could have been just smoke on Twitter, but that seems like the kind of way the Celtics are thinking right now. And yeah, there's got to be. I mean, by all means, if Peyton Pritchard puts up a Jalen Brunson jump, they're good. It's not going to happen. All right.
That's the kind of coping you do after you make a trade this bad. That's what you tell yourself. Peyton Pritchard, he's going to be that man after this.
The biggest winner in this trade is Nico Harrison because he now has company in the stupidest trade club. It's just been him and old whoever that guy was on the Nets that made that trade. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
but they weren't the only
hater. I'm not mad, but wow, that was something.
Yeah, I was saying, I'm sure for you see them both as two of the better trades of this century.
Yeah, for sure.
From the Lakers' perspective. But I do want to get to some of my other losers this offseason. I actually struggled. I went down some of these paths and was like, I kind of could see, I can see where a lot of the moves are going. Where I can't see where a team is going, or maybe I can a little too much, I need a little more uncertainty, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. No additions. They have lost Dean Wade, who's on the Sixers now. He's a very good role player for that team. I'm not gonna act like he's a big change, but he was a really big part of that Cavs team and their identity, and that's one less body on this Cavs team. And just running it back with D. Mitch and James Harden, like we made a conference final. So I mean, obviously that means we'll make it again because it's not like the conference finals teams have pretty well changed every year, other than the Pacers making it back to back and New York making it back to back. So maybe they saw that and were like, all right, we'll just we'll be the back to back team next year and we'll win the ring. All right, sure, whatever. I just think running it back is a pretty piss poor move for the Cavs, but I also do understand they don't have a lot of flexibility right now, so it's not like they could have made a huge splash or anything. But I just think regardless, you're a loser at this point. I think they just reached their peak this season, and it's unfortunate because I love Donovan Mitchell and want Donovan Mitchell to prove me wrong, but it's got to happen at some point. And then some teams that I kind of flirted with, like, was looking into it, Memphis, but really they got rid of the PR nightmare that's been Ja. Mm-hmm. They're ready to go for the future. So I'm not going to necessarily call them losers on that. And actually, they got the third pick in the draft, Boozer. Like, they're building something there. It's going to take a little bit, but they're building something. Orlando, while they haven't really made any moves other than getting Vooch, I do very much question that move being anything other than maybe a ticket seller. I do see the vision with this team and the first round performance they put on. If they can stay healthy, if they stayed healthy, they would have been the second round, if we're being honest, for Franz specifically. And then Sacramento, because they're just always losing. It's just that's what they do over there in Sacramento. And then Milwaukee, but also like I said with Memphis, I see the vision. Like Giannis needed to be moved. He was over it, and they got a pretty good haul. They have a future, a distant future, but a future to look forward to, and some pieces that can compete now, especially in this East. Um, so yeah, I mean, I won't dog on them. And lastly, I will say would have been a loser if LeBron is picked somewhere and it's not here. Golden State will end up being losers if LeBron
Hmm.
is not in their jersey next year. And that segues me into my next question because I don't have an answer to it. What do you think about the LeBron James sweepstakes? The world is on pause right now, waiting for LeBron to just do something. Come on, let's make a decision. So, what do you think about LeBron and his decision making here?
Yeah, I think that's where the Cavs are kind of resting. Obviously, you're not happy with the way things ended for them last season, and the East is only getting better, and I feel like a lot better this offseason. So, competition's only getting more fierce. So, I think, well, I would hope that the Cavs think they're banking on LeBron James coming home, and that's why they haven't made any drastic moves. But I think it's either one of Cleveland or Golden State. I don't think it goes anywhere else. As fun as Minnesota would be, that would be awesome, but I don't think that happens. The Spurs would have been awesome, but obviously didn't want to do that. They signed Tobias Harris, basically the same player. Um, but yeah, Golden State, obviously the most fun thing. Cleveland probably ends up being the most realistic with him coming home. Uh, I think it's one of those two. I don't think it's any outlandish pick by any means.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think the most likely that will bring him home a championship, safest bet would be the Sixers. Honestly, like looking at that team, you put LeBron in at the four, you got Dean Wade and Anthony Simons off the bench. That I want to talk about it in a little bit, but I think that is it. Would be his best chance at a championship. I think there's a gunner's chance that the retirement home in Golden State puts together. I mean, like Steph Curry and LeBron on the same team. Come on now, let's find a way to just turn back the clock for a year and be one of the anomalies in sports history for sure. Um, and then with the Cavs, yeah, LeBron obviously elevates his team a lot like a Kawhi does out in
Yeah.
Toronto. Uh, as you have a lot of young players that just don't quite have the edge, I think, to get the championship. Well, I mean, the Raptors are still a step behind there, but um, and LeBron definitely can push them over just by being LeBron and bringing in a winning culture. Not that the Cavs don't, but it just you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's a little different. So, um, yeah, if I had to say, I would hope he goes to. I don't want to say Cleveland actually. I was thinking Cleveland, but I remembered that makes it go to Golden State. That way we face you, and Pacers face you in the finals.
The Cleveland and things have been overdone. I guess it's you can't really be overdone if it's homecoming, but still, I want to see him in Golden State. That's where I would prefer to see him, even if it is Olden State, as the wise poet Skip Bayless said. Um, I I would really love to see that. If nothing else for the theatrics, they may not win, but it'll be a fun team to watch. So please, LeBron, go there.
Agreed.
Uh, but kind of brings me into my next point. One of my losers for this offseason, the Los Angeles Lakers. They're cooking. It's not something good, but they're cooking. Two first round pick swaps and two unprotected first round picks for Walker Kessler, who hasn't played winning basketball and averages 14 and 10. Sure, that's somebody that you've wanted for a long time. Overpay. Why not? Then Palinka went on a speed run and signed Colin Sexton, Quinn Grimes, and Sandro Mamu in 30 minutes. I don't know if he knows you don't have to do that all in 30 minutes, but Palinka did it. It's time for him to go. And then he also let Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart, Jackson Hayes, probably Rui, and oh yeah, LeBron James leave. Excellent work uh, all around by Rob Palinka. He's been doing excellent work in LeBron's 8 years with the team, and that's why LeBron wanted to leave. Speaks to how great of work Rob Palinka was doing. I know you were a little higher on the Kessler trade than I was, but uh, is this team? Do you see them as being a play-in, or could they be more competitive than that? Because I only see a play-in right now with the roster that's constructed currently.
So when I hear you say it out, and the Walker Kessler trade, I missed that it was a trade. For some reason, I thought it was a sign and trade, so I only got like the signing portion of that. I will say I have a Lakers fan I sit next to at work that is like on the opposite end of the spectrum of you. He was going crazy, like, "Oh, Colin Sexton, let's go!" He might be listening to this. Like, he was hype, like hell yeah, you got 4 role players, good job. I mean, that's what the Pacers are comprised of, is role players. So I can't say too much, but so I hearing him probably had me on the more positive side, but hearing your point of view, I do hear what you're saying, and I didn't even think about how they're losing Rui as well. It was a pretty big part of some of the brighter
Huge
spots
part. Yeah,
of the Lakers this past season. So I do still think with Luka Doncic is taking worse teams further.
that's fair.
So I would say, especially with Austin Reeves as the second star, as shaky as that may be, we'll see. We're about to find out a lot about Mister Reeves here pretty
Reeves, yeah,
soon.
for sure.
So, but yeah, I would say in the West probably a playing team. But again, I think with Luka, you just never know. Never can tell.
If they're healthy, there's a chance they could be competitive. A 5 or 6 seed maybe in the playoffs, but I don't see it getting any better than that. I just don't think the pieces around him are what you want, because you want a lob threat with Luca, I feel like, and Walker Kessler, not really a lob threat in my opinion. Could be wrong. He could have changed his whole physical identity, but um, yeah, I just don't see it. I wanted Walker Kessler in the past couple seasons at that price. It's just too much. I don't get it. But that will do it for our storylines. We'll go ahead and move on to our NBA power rankings, where this week we will rank our top 3 winners from NBA free agency so far. We've talked enough about losers. Let's talk about the winners. Colton, who you got?
See, as I struggled to pick losers, I also struggled to pick clear winners. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like there are 2 clear winners, but the third one I kind of struggled with. So I went on a limb here. I went with the Phoenix Suns. I kind of like what they're
Okay.
building over there. I'm not gonna lie, because they honestly were a team that outperformed my expectations last season. Shout out Colin Gillespie for coming out of nowhere and getting a 4-year deal now. Like, 2 years ago, he kind of fallen off the radar of the NBA and just kind of resurfaced last season. Last season, I think. Oh, Alice dropped out there for a second. Welcome back.
What the heck? All right.
Gotta love this technology. But back to my point on the Suns. Bringing back in Colin Gillespie on a 4-year deal, I think that's a pretty good signing. But this era additions, Miles Bridges, take what the off the court stuff is as it is, but hopefully
Yeah.
he's done with that. Um, Coming out on a trade with the Hornets, and then Luke Kennard, that's a solid role piece. I think this team's biggest weakness was their lack of a bench. I think those are 2. Miles Bridges is absolutely a player that can get you some scoring outside of Devin Booker. So I'm very curious to see how they fit in. And I think this is a team that ended up being a 7 seed or a 6 seed. Were they the
I think
6
7
seed?
seed.
7 seed? Okay. Yeah, because they were in the plan. So I mean, they ended up being a 7 seed. I had lower expectations for them. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to knock anyone's socks off, but you see teams rise and you see teams fall. I think this is a team that's going to rise, going to go up to maybe a 5 or a 4 seed. So, and be maybe a little more in it. They did lose Grayson Allen, who was a pretty big part of their team, but and yeah, not to mention Dylan Brooks on that squad,
Mm-hmm.
and him raising his elevated. Oh, they were the 8 seed because they played the Thunder. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Dylan Brooks and his whole thing with Shea. So I do think they did surprise me, at least in the regular season. I think they might have a chance to do that again. So that one I'm taking out on a limb, but I think the next 2 are pretty clear. I'm going at number 2, the Miami Heat. While this is a gamble, I think they went from a play-in team to now a title contender with just pretty much overnight with that trade. They did sign Tim Hardaway Jr. He'll be good for about half the season. Then he'll be cold for half the season. Let's just hope the warm parts in the playoffs, I suppose. But no, that's a great vet. Honestly, surprised he has made it this far. He's one of those players that like I didn't think he had too long of an outlook in the NBA, and here he is, what a 14-year vet at this point,
Good
maybe a
for
little
that
less than
guy.
that. Like hell yeah, I love those guys that just stick around in the NBA. I mean, we know why. It's his jumper,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's just funny. I remember him in college. He's still around, signing with the Heat, and the Heat will be using him because their depth is very questionable at this point, and it's something that we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I think with Giannis, with Bam, with the starting lineup, there is going to be it's going to be a really good season for them, and I yeah, just as long as they can stay healthy, obviously, of course. But then the next one, speaking of health, it's the 76ers. I mean, this is the most I've seen the 76ers cook since they invented tanking. And you got Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, Dean Wade. Y'all stop hating on Dean Wade. That is a valuable power forward in the NBA. With these guys around him, what do you want him to? You want to put LeBron there? He'll do
the,
just fine, sure.
the second
But
best D Wade in NBA history. That's all I got to say.
exactly the second best D Wade in NBA history, y'all. And then of course Joel Embiid at the center. Anthony Simons, I think, is a very sneaky pickup for their bench. He needs to learn how to play winning basketball because he didn't do a very good job of that in
Yeah.
Boston. But now he's going in there with the expectation that he'll be coming off the bench, so that should be good, and hopefully he can contribute there. But there's a lot of maybes on this bench. I will say Nick Nurse is going to have to work some coaching magic, I think, to make this
Mhm.
bench look a little better than it is, which he actually tends to do from time to time. He's had some pretty rough benches that he's turned into one of the better in the league. So it helps having Nick Nurse. I still think one of the more underrated, sometimes overrated, but I feel like underrated coaches in the NBA. And I think he's going to figure it out. So I think the Sixers had the best offseason by far this offseason. And I'm excited. I'm excited to watch Sixers basketball for the first time in a while. Not that I'm a fan of them, but I just think they got a really fun team. And I think they're going to actually be a team I can consider competing for a championship along with the Heat.
Yeah, I like that. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, because as much as that trade was bad, I feel like the Celtics also deserve their flowers for uh, other moves they made. So they get like an honorable mention from me because Mitchell Robinson, shoring up your post with him is going to be great for them. And they got Mike Conley as well. He may be 87 years old, but he can still get it done. So I'm excited to see how he contributes to that team. But honorable mention because the Jalen Brown trade, you're not even sniffing top three. So my third is the Spurs. Um, Wing depth was something that was a problem, and they went and got Tobias Harris, somebody I've talked poorly of, but he figured out how to win in Detroit. So, shout out to the Spurs for getting him, and shout out for Tobias Harris for figuring it out because he is way better than Harrison Barnes, somebody who started the year off great last season and then ended up struggling. So, I'm excited to see, uh, first off, how Harrison Barnes can contribute now that he doesn't have that big expectation on him, and how Tobias Harris kind of makes this team better, especially with adding a veteran presence like he is. And then my second team is the Raptors. Steep price for Kawhi, but why not? Emmanuel quickly, R.J. Barrett, Kawhi, Barnes, and Pirtle. That's a championship level team right there. It is a steep price, but it's not like you're paying it for Walker Kessler. You're paying it for Kawhi Leonard, somebody who has already won you a championship in Toronto. So you know exactly what you're getting. Uh, I don't think any tree business is going to hurt him. So I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be around in Toronto for the rest of his career. So I'm excited to see how he contributes there. And like you said, number one, the 76ers. I had this down before Anthony Simons even signed. I mean, just that lineup of uh, VJ, Maxi, Jalen Brown, Wade, and Embiid, one of the best starting lineups in the league. As I said, the East just got better and better. Finally, the West got some reprieve. They're not as stacked as they once were, it seems. So, shout out to the East for getting better, but shout out to the 76ers, as you said, from they finally did it. I think this is the encapsulation of going from tanking to being one of the best teams that you can be in the league.
Yeah, to your point on the Raptors, I feel um, that's a team that when Kawhi only plays 42 games will still be in playoff contention. Like,
Yeah,
hopefully I'm wrong on that, but let's just be honest. Actually, last year Kawhi was really good. He did play like almost 60 games, I think. So I should stop dogging on him, but let's just be honest. He's getting up there, and he is the day to day original day to day guy. So when Kawhi's on the floor, this is still a core that can win basketball games. They are missing Brandon Ingram from that core last year, but I think they'll be just fine. Not to hate on Ingram, but kind of to hate on Ingram, I guess. But I'm very curious about the Clippers and what they're building over there. They got an interesting little thing. But for the Raptors, yeah, I agree. I think when you get to playoff time and this team's here, a lot of those players now have a year under their belt. And then I just circle back to when Kawhi went to the Clippers in the first place. And I think, what if he just stayed? What if he hadn't left? I mean,
yeah.
what did you really accomplish over there in LA other than one conference finals run?
They ran LA, is what I heard. I don't know. I think the other team ended up with more championships, but who's counting?
Who's counting for sure? But yeah, I do like that you brought up the Raptors because I do think that Kawhi trade is definitely steep, but I think it will get them further than they would have without Kawhi. I think that's a pretty obvious answer there. So
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a top three or four team for sure. So that's definitely a move you make. I feel like 10 out of 10 times. But that
oh,
was. Oh, go ahead.
and one more thing I want to say to your point on the Celtics, if they still had Jaylen Brown, I would have called them winners. They might have been winner number 2. I think
Yeah,
Mitchell Robinson's outstanding. That's exactly what they were missing last season. They might have
for
made the
sure.
finals if they had Mitchell Robinson. Like, well, he would have been injured, but yeah, I agree. I think the Mike Conley and Mitchell Robinson signings are great if you still had Jaylen Brown, but
Yeah,
got rid of Jaylen Brown for Paul George. So
and they just re-signed Keita too. So see how it goes. Probably not great, but we'll see. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our WNBA pick'em, where we pick our winners for the biggest game in the W this week. The first one I have is 7 p.m. Sunday on ESPN. It's the Fever at the Aces. Who you got?
I'm going with the Aces. They came off a really hot game. I believe that was last Sunday. I forget who they were playing. All I know is Jackie Young and Asia killed it. Um, yeah, I just feel like while the Fever have been playing better as of recent, they've been in the headlines a lot of recent.
Yeah,
I just think the Aces are the better team, and they're not doing that thing where they just were asleep the first half of the year,
true.
and then they woke up second half of the year. We're seeing a full length season from the Aces, and I'm loving every second of it. So, give me the Aces on this one.
There are health concerns for both Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, which is concerning for the box office effect of this game.
Sure.
So if you're looking at that, which team's better without their stars? I feel like it is the Fever, so I'm going to go with the Fever in this one. Kelsey Mitchell has outplayed Caitlin Clark, if we're being honest, this year.
Yeah,
Don't
no, you're right.
don't come into my inbox. Don't hit the comments too
I hate
maliciously. But she's played better than Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston might be the MVP so far this season. She has just been fantastic. Aces aren't deep, especially without knowing if Kennedy Carter's in timeout still or not. So I feel like the difference there is how you play without your big star. If they both play, Aces probably win this, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna err on the side of they probably both won't play because they're worried about them playing later in the season. So I'm gonna go with the Fever in this one. And then the second one we have is 8 p.m. Tuesday on ESPN. ESPN's cooking with these games this week, let me tell you. It's the Wings at the Liberty. Who you got?
Uh, I'm going with the upset on the Wings. I'm feeling that. That will be a great game. I feel like, yeah, I'm just going with the upset there.
Yeah, we're saving the graphics, so this is great. Right beside each other in the standings, almost identical home, away, and last 10 records. The guard matchup with will be fun with Sabrina versus Paige, obviously. And then Astier trying to outdo AZ and Enrique will be fun. The difference is, though, Jessica Shepard cannot guard Stewie and JJ at the same time, and
Mhm.
there's not much post defense from besides her. So points in the paint, I think, propel the Liberty here to the win. But I think it's going to be a very fun and competitive game either way. I'm excited for this one. And now it's time for our shooting star, where we pick our baller of the week. Colton, who you got?
I'm going to just go with one that I've. It's one of those I just wanted to get off of my chest, and it's Olivia Miles. How about the rookie? Not necessarily leading the team. She
Fantastic.
is leading the team in points per game, but a lot of people have stepped up on that team. I don't want to discount them, but she is definitely the most impressive so far. 18.7 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, 5.7 assists, even 1.4 steal for good measure. The Lynx are 15-4 with the best record in the league and the top of the West, of course. So it's been fun to watch. By the way, in case you don't follow the WNBA, they're missing their MVP caliber player right
Yeah,
now.
they're supposed
Like
to be bad.
they might have found a new MVP caliber player, but
That's true.
they're also missing their MVP candidate and just rocking with that 15-4 record. Uh, and why not just give her all the time she needs? Like, even if they slip a little bit, they're still in really good position. So, give Nafisa Collier as much time as she needs so that when she comes back, she's 100% healthy. And then this team in the playoffs, like, I wouldn't want to face them. I mean, now you have a team that knows how to play without Collier, and you still, when you bring in Collier, like it just makes the team a lot better. And it is one of the sneaky things about basketball that we've seen from time to time, is how you get players, especially a rookie going into their first year playing winning basketball on in a winning organization, and just having that, like, to have to try and guard all of that at once is just going to be insane.
That's a great pick. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. You're not hitting the panic button. You're hitting the that was easy button that Staples has because
Yeah.
what kind of sense does this make that they're still doing this? They lost all their bigs. They don't have Nafisa Collier. Who knows when she's coming back? Again, do not rush her back because you all are playing outstanding basketball. Let her have all the time that she needs. Last thing I expected. I think I talked about them as one of the teams I'm most worried about coming into the season after losing all the pieces they
Yeah.
did and Fee not being there. Goodness gracious, did they prove me wrong? So yeah, incredible pick. Yeah, they deserve all their flowers. But mine for this week is LeBron James, who is finally out of under the regime of Rob Pelinka. 8 years of the best player ever, pretty much wasted because he wanted to sign players like Westbrook, D'Angelo Russell, 80-year-old Carmelo Anthony, Talon Horton Tucker, who they chose over Caruso, Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley, Marcus All, Torian Prince, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Just some of the great players that LeBron was not forced, definitely not forced. That's a rude word to use, but forced to play with. So shout out to Rob Pelinka for making him do that. It just feels like a prank show for 8 years. So please, LeBron, go win somewhere. You deserve it. The Lakers do not deserve anything. Shout out LeBron for finally making it out.
Hey, and Indy has one more spot. LeBron, just saying, just putting that out, just putting it in the airways. There's one spot
Can
on
be
the
worse than what the Lakers have done the last 8 years. So shout out to wherever you want to go, bud. Just don't be the Kings, and then you'll be okay. That will do it for this episode of the Restricted Area Podcast. Thanks, Colton, for being on the show. Follow the show's YouTube at CX Restricted Area. You can follow the CX crew on all socials at CX Pod Network. Follow me on Twitter at The Will Deal and Colton at Colt_45. Thank you all for listening and watching. And until next week, like the American flag on this 4th of July holiday, be smooth.